hour together is what we're doing. Yeah. Hey guys, we're live. Everybody's here. We Mario and I are at a cool, fun moment where we're basically over the falls in terms of on the book, and so we're ready to format it and get some last little pieces. I gotta get the. I just asked him if he wanted to.
Amazing stuff. It's just I looked at it when you sent the whole thing in order.
Mm-hmm.
It was fantastic. That's what it was.
Yeah, it makes an impact, doesn't it? When it's
I'm not tooting my own horn. That was my impression.
Wait till you see it with the text.
You did the artwork. I mean, final artwork based on my stuff.
When you're looking at face and pages with the little poem, little limerick or rhyme, whatever you want to call it, and then looking at the illustration, it's going to be groovy. I wonder if what should
right rather than just have an illustration or just a joke, that adds a little bit more depth to it. Maybe short stories the next time.
Mm-hmm.
And I do want to throw this out. We could do a project together.
Mm-hmm.
That's something to cogitate about.
And grok, of course.
That's something else. That is amazing.
Yeah. No, I've got a convert with Mario. He likes grok. I do too.
I haven't been back there. I thought it was good. It was better than I went to the chat one and I said, well, big deal. That didn't impress me. I wasn't impressed by that. But you had grok wrote a story.
Yeah,
that made sense.
Yeah. I mean, it's like give it the
grammatically correct.
Yeah. And with just a little bit of, you'd have to rewrite all that stuff because it doesn't get it in terms of like tone sometimes, but it could be good. I just saw a completely AI produced trailer that was done by the guy that used to run the magazine Film Threat, Chris Gore, who I've met in San Diego back during that era when they had what they call raves. It was before they were going to tear San Diego down and replace it with everything that they tore down. And in this soon to be something building, repurposed or torn down, I met him at this big rave. Talked to him. His hair's solid white now, and it was solid black then. And he had a hairline that came down like he was a caveman or something. So he's lost a little bit of hairline, but it's still like, okay, hide your hairline. That's what I need to do. What was I even talking about? Oh yeah, it was an AI produced trailer. Everything in it was AI, and I'll send you the link, Scott. It was called.
What's it called?
It's called Karen Unleashed, and it's about this crazy Karen. The cliche of crazy women, and it shows her as just a Rambo kind of character.
We're working. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Tell us what you're up to.
We're working on one now. I sent off the. It's not really a script. I sent it to the guy last night. I'm supposed to call them after we get through talking.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of a spin on an alien invasion story. And we've already got there's a bunch of AI film festivals out there. We've got it lined up to enter. So,
Okay. On YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Retro science fiction.
Well,
and it's all, you've seen it.
I've seen it.
Spacecraft and babes.
Mm-hmm.
To use that derogatory term that no one wants to say anymore.
Extremely appealing babes. I don't know what they scour for that. Yeah, very appealing. I look at it and I say, wait a second, that's so-and-so from It Came From Outer Space, that glorious looking actress that was in that. Yeah.
I was watching, and then when they look in your eyes, the models, and you have a recognition like, oh, it's a human being staring at me.
Yeah. It's no longer the uncanny valley. Yeah.
Oh, man. I mean, I'm telling you, it's getting good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's getting. You could argue whether it's good or bad or whatever, but it's getting to where you can't tell anything on it.
It's like Chris Gore said. Hey, it's coming.
Uncanny Valley. What's that?
It's what they would call what they weren't getting right about expressions in their CGI renders. They wouldn't look human. They wouldn't look quite right.
Like a curve.
Oh,
like, this is realistic.
Yes.
This is like completely cartoony. And as they come together, they don't come together like this. It kind of comes down, and that's the uncanny valley. And it's where it looks realistic enough that it doesn't have the appeal of a cartoon, but and this is broad terms, but it's really, it just looks creepy.
It looks creepy versus it doesn't quite make it.
They drop. That's what kind of.
I like this. The expression is good.
Yeah.
And it's and
these are amazing. First of all, and you got Scott. You're into pulp right now.
Yeah.
I'm always into pulp. And all the genres, whatever's happening, then that's the thing now. Somebody came up with something original, or they made a movie that keeps your attention.
Mm-hmm.
Can keep your attention. What's your favorite movie?
My favorite movie, I guess, would be King Kong.
Right now, which one?
The first one.
The first
39. One. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And for overall experience, I'd have to agree with you. Because
that was our first movie that I just wanted to show you guys talking pulp. I was
very nice.
I just did that on Procreate in about 10 minutes of dabbling.
See that kind of okay. So let me tell you what I was thinking.
There's the shadow, kind of.
We team up. Scott does backgrounds. Some inks. Ellis does the figures.
Does the pencils. Okay. No, Scott doesn't like to ink.
I'll do roughs too. He doesn't have to ink, and you ink anyway. So
we got enough talent in this pool to do something for sure.
Something original.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be interesting to put out something.
Well, we ought to do this, since this is the only thing that could possibly make us money. We ought to each do little pieces that somebody could cut together for a little YouTube video. We ought to have grander ambitions toward our little storytelling. We ought to try to cut together
on this show.
Yeah, a little animatic of some sort of story we want to really tell.
My YouTube channel is monetized now, by the way, Ellis.
Groovy. How much money have you made? I know you're monitoring.
$16 so far.
$16. All right.
But it's going up. I mean, like today I made my highest has been $2. Today I made $2.50. I mean,
$2.50.
It's not, it's not a lot, but $2.50 a day is a tank of gas.
I thought of a couple of jokes.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm not going there.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Which layout do you guys like better?
This is fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it better because it shows me in less detail.
Okay, so where are we at in the game?
Okay.
I admire you doing that, Scott.
Do what?
The monetization.
Yeah. Well,
actually, I was thinking about reading the Bible.
Yeah. Well, what's funny? I've been so busy. I've been able to do because I read it live at 9:00, and which that's not on my YouTube, so I don't get monetized for that. But I haven't. At 9:00, I've been on the phone with people all week. It's been kind of busy.
And I'll be honest, I tried several times. And the repetition of the names, I know you have to get past that.
Oh, yeah. That was the worst part of that Gates of Fire book for me. I'd hit a word and I said, and even mentally, I'd have to pronounce it. I'd have to slow down and pronounce that weird Spartan name, you know.
Well, I think, you know, I mean, with the Bible, obviously, you know, the names are either Hebrew or they're Hebrew, or they're, you know, they're obviously, or they tend to be foreign to our tongue.
Mm-hmm.
And when I read it, certainly out loud, especially in the Old Testament, I will kind of do the Elvis thing and go, Hezekiah or whatever, you know, kind of mumble my way through it.
Elvis voice, you mean?
Well, no, well, the joke is that Elvis would kind of, when he'd forget the words of the song, he'd just kind of mumble them. Oh, so that's what I do when I can't pronounce it. I just kind of mumble it the best I can.
Just give you the emotion.
You know, and some of it can be, you know, if you're reading like in Chronicles, some of the history books of the Old Testament, some of the kings and stuff can be a little, you know, is it Nebuchadnezzar or who, you know, but yeah.
And I finally had to put down the Gary Jennings book. I mean, not Gary Jennings. He's a historical writer who was great and interesting back then. But Robert Graves, the King Jesus.
Oh, the Greek one. The Greek. Oh no, it was he wrote the
Greek mythology. And that book was a real snore fest because it just, just an encyclopedia basically. So it should have been an encyclopedia. It's not a novel. But I've read a couple of things that were pretty good, like Count Belisarius. I think that one is by him. That was good.
I haven't been reading.
I had to put it down. I got about halfway in. Good story, but then he goes off on breaking down where the influences.
Oh yeah.
Of the myths, of the stories.
Oh, I'm sorry, guys.
Where they originate from. Anyway, well, I'm glad I got to tell you that. I was thinking about that.
Yeah, I'm right now. I'm not reading too much. I've got a guy that I don't know if you guys were acquainted with his work. Now I'm going to forget his name.
What did he write?
I can't even. He wrote one thing about. What is his name? I have to go all the way to the back of the house to go get it. But anyway, he's got a book called Paying for It, where he chronicles his life of paying for sex.
That's a graphic novel.
What's his name?
I think it meant pain, like Pain.
No, it's paying for it, like he's paying prostitutes.
He's paying prostitutes.
Okay.
And it's pretty fascinating, pretty compelling.
That guy just died.
Did he?
Yeah, like a year ago.
He died. I did not know that.
Joe Matt.
No.
It's not Joe Matt?
I'll look it up right now. Paying for it.
That group.
So,
he is in a group. He has a little peer group. Yeah.
You guys in with the group of those Canadian cartoonists?
Yes, Chester Brown.
Oh, Chester Brown.
That's who I'm talking
about. He didn't die. Joe Matt died.
Okay.
So, now are we dropping the whole RPG thing? Or?
No, we're going to play.
No, we were waiting for
we need a
notions.
I sent an email.
Yeah. With the news.
Was that my kickoff I was supposed to kick off with? I didn't know it.
No, actually, we were looking at your character sheets.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You haven't sent them back.
Okay. I'll do that. I'm sorry. So we got tardy work on the ground floor building of this thing. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, I don't think so.
No, you're right. I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry.
Being flexible, that's right.
It's like that Pee-wee joke. You remember that from the old Cheech and Chong? It's one of the better jokes I remember from Cheech and Chong. He's playing this weird character that has stolen a bunch of their money and has to return it. They're in a mental institution. Pee-wee's one of the crazies.
So what do we need to do to get started, Mario?
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's part of it's a social structure. That's all it is. So
we're not on a time frame.
Yeah. This will be a frame that we can fall back on, basically. So, you have an email there, and that's like homework because this is going to start setting the plot, setting the stage.
And do you only feel comfortable as the guy running things if you've got like a board right in front of you to where you're making little check marks on it or something like that in terms of like where you're at and all that?
That's the miniatures is what attracted me in the first place, even though I got into the rules afterwards.
Okay, Ellis, let him get going.
Okay.
That's fair.
Listen.
So I always loved that part of it, the miniatures on the table and the terrain. And, when I went to the Museum of Natural History, they have these immense dioramas that were just like, blowing my mind as back then.
Yeah.
Even now, I have photos of that stuff. Maybe I could do that sometime.
That's a great thing for a creator.
So yes, I will be, to answer your question. Yeah. So I'll have, I ordered a new computer. So it's a laptop. So I think I could probably aim it at a table.
Very cool.
That is part of the game. I'm flexible, and you roll dice. See, I'm shooting at this guy. We don't just go.
Yeah.
There has to be math behind it.
There has to be a little math there to dignify it. Yes.
Okay. So how do you know when you come up? Do you just establish the rule beforehand? How many, what sided die you're using, or what?
Oh no. I gave you numbers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you have those ready. So
so
you would roll let's say you would roll your coordination or whatever. If you have a particular weapon skill, you roll that. And if you fail, you have to worry about it. If you hit, let's say you hit your target, then you roll damage, which is listed there.
What's the simplest role-playing game you've encountered in terms of like saying, oh man, was this made for...
Mine's only a little bit more complicated than the simplest.
Okay.
And I like that, and the reason I included that was there were some questions in the beginning, because I had it down to 3 statistics. So you could play with 3 statistics.
How about you, Scott? Are you do you still get with your group, or have you had to give that up with as busy as you are?
We have not played because the whole group got busy, so we kind of disbanded a few years ago. And I've played.
Keep going.
Yeah, it is. I've played. We played.
You're in one place. I was moving, West Coast.
Yeah.
East Coast. So I lost a couple of groups. Yeah, my cronies from Oklahoma, from OU. I had a group, and I was part of a group, and I had a friend out there who were both sculpting, and he passed on. And I still have my buddy from OU down in Texas there.
Hey Scott, what was that name of that guy that I almost freelanced with? That was such a good artist that was from OU. I believe he actually did a little professoring when he was there. What was that guy? Jerry. Jerry ended up being the guy that freelanced with him, and then he died.
He's Tulsa that worked on.
John Hadley?
No, he was. I can't think of the guy's name. He did that comic strip. Cthulhu is Missing.
Cthulhu is Missing.
Or Lovecraft is Missing. I'm sorry.
Lovecraft is Missing. That's right.
And he couldn't draw it because he'd gotten sick. And he invited you to, I don't know if you were trying out or what, but.
I gave him a sample, and then he gave me all this feedback back about how I'd gotten my tree foliage all wrong. So I guess it wasn't a mate. That's one easy way to say, hey, you ain't it.
and
then it was Jerry he went with.
He hired Jerry, and Jerry drew like one page, I think, before the guy died.
Yeah, yeah, and you remember at the con, I
Started to
said,
happen too.
yeah,
People are-
Yeah, no, I wasn't at that con.
I was trying to. I was reaching out to the guy who was doing the work before you guys. Now I'm forgetting his name. It's on the cover of the books there.
Was
So
at the
he
con.
did some of the roughs.
oh yeah, mm-hmm.
So that fellow whose name is escaping me right now.
I
I
found
was
the
reaching
name of
out
who
to him
I'm.
and then he was dead. You know,
Yeah.
I did some research and then I found out he was dead.
Hmm.
That was kind of
Would you say, Ellis?
Okay. Here you go, Mario. See if this name, because I'm thinking era wise, you might have encountered him at OU. Larry Latham.
I know that name.
You know that name? Okay.
Yeah.
He was out. He actually went to California himself and went through the grind of the Hanna-Barbera and that sort of
really?
that sort of thing out there. Yeah. He he went through that crucible.
I don't think I'm not sure I would have been happy there anyway. So.
Yeah. Well, no, I think once anybody gets snowed under the actual reality of animation, it's hard work. They give you a quota of what you got to produce, and that'll sharpen you up, though.
Will it?
Well, yeah.
Push you over the edge?
Yeah, it'll push you over the edge while it sharpens you. Yeah.
So that's not good.
No.
See, I think the opposite way, that the good stuff. Well, sometimes you can knock something out right at first try. Yeah, from my experience, it's either you either nailed it the first time or you didn't, or it's a work that develops over time.
Mm-hmm.
And those are in my case, they're the best things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Either you have a flash of inspiration that's really, really good and you're on it, or you have to just kind of carve it out.
Yeah.
I find that a lot with songwriting.
Yeah.
I'll pick a guitar and play. Oh God, that's a great little progression. Yeah, I'm going to work with that. And then I just write lyrics to that, or I have tons of forget that. But I have so many I could do that. I never try to force anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's the way to be. Just put the time in. That's all you have to really do. It's like saying, okay, I don't feel like it at all today, and then you just say, I'm going to do a little something, see if something happens.
Very difficult to do sometimes, but
it is.
I agree.
Yeah, you just put the time in. That's the secret. All these guys ultimately finally tell you.
The other part that goes with what I said before was that we'd be doing this, so the whole process would be on video.
Yeah, you could unveil or unpack how you do things. Yeah,
maybe the work wouldn't be done on live. No, you wouldn't do the work live. Just what the results maybe.
Yeah, sure.
That makes sense. I think this is a good way to collaborate. At work, we do this a lot with our plant up in Princeton, Illinois, where we get on the 2 or 3 artists down here. We'll get with the 4 or 5 artists up there, and we'll all kind of talk about different projects, and it works pretty good. I think the video component adds something. Because some people, I'm in a lot of Zoom meetings, and some people won't turn their computer or their monitor on or their camera on. And I think you lose something like that. You lose a little bit of, I don't know what it is, inflection or tone or whatever. But I think the video is better for sure.
I'm looking at video too for a couple of things I'm thinking about.
It's so easy. I mean, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right.
Well, I'm thinking about like we could do all kinds of Frankenstein projects, just like you've got these files and files of images, and those are always easy to just like stream together with iMovie. Just put them in an order, and then all of a sudden you've got a Ken Burns project, you know.
Well, the
Well,
problem with
copyright, though.
in my
Yeah.
case, again, this is opinion because I could see, we have different experience. We come up with different ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
But what my experience is that when I'm watching films like that, it doesn't keep my attention very long.
It doesn't grab you. Okay, yeah,
No.
you're right. Yeah, I guess a lot of that. There's this French film that is entirely still images, and they acted like
It's
it was kind of,
quality that catches your eye.
yeah, yeah.
When things are together,
Mm-hmm.
when you see and even that is from person to person.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Your idea of perfect is not the same as the next guy's idea of perfect.
Yeah,
but your personal experience, I'm talking from mine, of course,
mm-hmm.
is that you're watching TV and all of a sudden, wow, I get this.
Mm-hmm.
I understand this show, this sitcom, or this movie, or this movie's doing it right because I can't turn away. Some of that has to do with your mood too, I think.
Yeah.
The way you're feeling at the time.
I just binge watched an entire season of Silicon Valley, and season 4, season 4. And oh gosh, that show, it's like I've so been there on so many levels of having to go after money from somebody that's got the money, so they can so we can keep the party going, at the place you're working. But that's mainly their conflict in Silicon Valley. But it's so funny. It's Mike Judge. Hey, I got Don Johnson from Kauai Ora. I guess he's in Hawaii.
That's Dan.
Okay.
Hey, Dan Johnson from.
That's the Black Cricket, Dan Johnson.
That's the writer. He's
the writer.
He's been busy on. Well, he's been working a lot, and so he hadn't been able to join us in a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. That's the reason I said he's in Hawaii, and he's not. He's in.
That's the name of the studio.
South Carolina, or north.
I don't know if it's south or north. Sorry, Dan.
That's all right. It's the one where Bull Durham was shot.
That was a good movie.
Yeah, it is a good movie. Yeah.
Back then, I wouldn't watch it now. But
I guess it dated itself. I actually went back and watched it way.
If you hadn't seen it, maybe.
Yeah, if you hadn't seen it. Tim. What's his name?
A lot of stuff from the certain periods now don't seem to work.
Yeah, they don't come
I was
forward very
on
well.
to you on Facebook.
And I'll check it out when we're done here. Thank you. I saw I got a message.
It's North Carolina, he says.
North Carolina.
Yep.
Let's hear it for North Carolina.
Wait a second, is that where you're at?
Me? Yes.
Yeah.
No, not me. No, I'm in Connecticut.
Okay, Connecticut. Okay, you're
I'm a
right
Yankee.
you're on the Beltway practically. Yeah. Right? Couldn't you almost be a Washington denizen or whatever? I don't know.
I think it's about 4 hours from here.
Oh, okay.
South of them a little ways.
Didn't David Letterman live in Connecticut?
Yeah, I've seen him driving in a convertible. Yeah.
Oh, really? Because
Yeah.
he apparently got stopped about 50 times and was given traffic tickets on his little commute, because that's what he's doing. He's commuting. He's going from Connecticut to.
It's not that far. I mean, it's a little ways, but it's not.
So you basically, this would satisfy Scott's great love to be in Manhattan all the time. It is to be a Connecticut guy.
I mean,
you could be in Manhattan anytime you wanted to be, and living in.
How far are you, Mario, from the city?
It's 100 miles.
100 miles.
Are you on the railroad line?
I was on the railroad line in New York, but now I moved to Connecticut, and it's an hour drive to the train station.
Oh, okay.
And then 2 hours down to the city.
Good
So it's
God.
about 3 hours from the city.
Complicated it. Yep.
Well, that's not bad.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't want to do it every day there and back, but
Well, Pat, when we first moved up here, I was still in New York. Pat was down in the city. And when we first moved up here, she kept working down there for a couple of years, actually.
yeah.
And as she had a Midtown Manhattan office. It was amazing. Made it that song, if I can make it here, I make it anywhere. I don't know if that's absolutely true or not, but she did. And
have you seen?
It's about 3 hours. It used to take about 3.5 hours to get to her place on what was that, 20th Street.
Okay.
Yeah, the city is fun. It can be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we Michelle and I a few years ago looked at moving up there, but and she went to some job interviews and stuff, and you would think being an electrical engineer, it'd be like, okay, but everybody.
I thought she was a lawyer.
No, electrical engineer.
Oh, that's even better. That's more
and she talked to some people and they were serious about her, but they only wanted to pay her like maybe 10 grand more than she made here, and it's like that. I can't live up there. No. Yeah, no. We could live down here and do great, or live up there and be paupers.
Yeah.
So we never. And
that's the thing, and Ellis can tell you this: being an artist is not economically fun, unless very few people. I think.
Well, it's mainly based on hustler mentality. I've just never had it. I never had it.
Either.
I should practice at it. It's like
Scott has a little bit of it.
Yeah, it's like developing a muscle. If I would just say, okay, this week we're going to start my first attempt at being a hustler, and then do baby steps. And heck, it doesn't matter whatever age you started anything.
You'd have to leave your house, Ellis.
Yeah, leave my house.
What's funny, Mauro, is we were up there. This one trip, we were up there. Michelle went on these job interviews, and we were looking at apartments and stuff. And we were starting like, I don't think this is going to work out. It's not. And we were on a subway train, and it was during rush hour, and it was packed with high school kids. And they were going crazy. And I told Michelle, I go, for the money that we're saving by not moving up here, we come up here and visit 2 or 3 times a year easily.
Yeah.
And I get my fill of it. And it wasn't long after that.
You can get your fill of it. I'm the opposite way. I go country.
Yeah. I I like going up there, and we go up there. We were up there.
That's part of the reason I didn't make it financially on the level that I.
Yeah.
I don't know what am I leading up to there. I think the idea is getting across, even though that was stumbly expressed.
No. Yeah, if you're gonna live in New York and be an artist, then you definitely have to hustle. And if you're gonna live in the country and be an artist, then you're definitely
gotta really hustle. Yeah.
Yeah. I started the computer business when I left. I worked at Texaco.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I remember that.
And when I left there, I was really on top of the computer game at that point.
Yeah.
And I started a business up there, not knowing that the rest of the people up out of the city aren't up to date on computers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there were few computers around, and the biggest problem was their modem was getting fried.
Mm-hmm.
That's where this is in 1980. 1990, right? 1990. No, wait a minute. No, that was 2000. That's right, 2000.
Oh yeah.
That recently, 25 years ago.
25
that
years
recently.
Ago. Exactly.
It feels recent.
Well, the computer business, it's funny. Like in the 80s, it was kind of hobbyist, and then it got where, Microsoft came out, and there were a lot of people that were like if you wanted a computer, you'd go to a guy in a strip mall and he'd build one for you.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people were kind of self-taught. Michelle has several family members that they were really into doing that, and then somewhere along the way, it became this. You didn't build one necessarily.
No more.
You ordered one,
right?
And these places, there weren't a place for them, and people that worked on computers had to get training from Microsoft and all this kind of stuff. So there was a whole kind of homegrown thing that kind of got wiped out at some point.
They wanted to get their finger in the pie there.
Well, you remember that groovy little Mac comic book called Shattered? That was, that was trying to be saying this is the future of comics. It was all computer graphics.
Oh yeah, I forget.
Well, I think we have. I'm sorry. I think we have seen the future with Scott. You saw the same YouTubes of the retro science fiction.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, where are you going to go from that? You know where you can go with that. That they're going to go.
You can make a whole movie with it.
Well,
they'll make some porn. They'll make some movies.
Well, so here's where I'll tell you where I will tell you exactly where it's headed, because this is the guy I'm working with trying to set all this up.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's ultimately headed is that, but with interactivity, and so you can control the plot. And I think we're not working on this, but I think where it's going to end up, Mario, is you'll sit down and you'll go, I've got an hour and a half to spend. I want to watch, and you'll type it in something or speak to it or whatever. You'll say, I want to watch an hour and a half James Bond movie set in the 50s where he fights Smurfs, and there's this, and you'll give it a few plot points. And you'll hit the button, and they'll write the script, they'll animate it or whatever, and you'll watch it, and you won't be able to tell any difference between that and something you see with Sean Connery.
Probably not, because that story, on first reading, I did say, "Wow, this is spooky. This is so well done." But there is a limit to the thinking that goes into that AI.
Yeah.
So far, we're still. That may not be forever.
No, I mean.
So you're saying you can do
you won't even go to there won't be like television networks or streaming. You'll watch. Now they may put stuff out that a group of people will watch, but you'll go, I want to watch this, and it'll build it. It'll take 5 seconds, and it'll build it. Tell it how long
that goes with our chimpanzee attention spans, right?
Mm-hmm. The one that we're developing so badly,
So you have that's going to fall right into place.
Yeah, I mean that's
5 second cinema.
Well,
it's going to become the Velt, the Ray Bradbury story.
I'll tell you the other thing, and this is happening now in China. The biggest thing in China right now is 2-minute dramas. People watch them on their phone, and it's not AI. They film them, but it's 2 minutes. It's just poof. And
that's what people want to watch. TikTok videos.
Japanese come up. They have a lot of media stuff that just goes by. I can't even. I don't get it personally.
But that apparently that's a big deal. And we're talking in our group. We're talking about how can we do that, and we've talked about the idea of using AI to just make cartoons. One of our channels is going to potentially, if it grows big enough, we'll have a kids channel. And I've said we should be doing, if we're going to do it, we should do AI cartoons on it.
A word of advice: don't put the wagon before the horse. I've done that many times.
The wagon is riding the horse, I think. In this,
the wagon goes behind the horse.
Yeah. Well, there's.
So wait. Let's see. Keep doing what you're doing.
Right.
I mean, you can improvise a little bit and try to grow, but you're selling something and you're getting attention, so you want to keep doing that.
Yeah. Well, the guy that.
And it could fail. So
it could fail.
Don't put too much into building it up until you actually have something to build on. I did that when I left Texaco and started that business, for instance.
Oh yeah.
I got into debt right away. Well, I had money that I took with me, but
yeah.
But I still used a credit card, and I moved it around because you could. They're doing that now. By the way, you can move your money around in credit cards without paying interest.
Yeah.
Just saying, I hope they don't kill me for saying that.
Tell me all about that, because I've got to pull the Band-Aid off on my Discover card. I've got to just go ahead and make some big payments and say,
Well,
Well, yeah, you could do that.
Yeah, you can do that.
Look around. Look at the other. It will affect your credit, but you could move it around.
I could move it around. Okay.
Yeah, look for cards that are with a lower that will let you transfer a balance and have a lower interest rate, and then you can move it. And move. You can. I mean,
zero interest rate.
Wow, you think I could find somebody to do that?
A lot of them have zero interest rates.
Yeah,
I did it. It's not illegal. That's legal.
Yeah,
it's legal. I didn't do it. I didn't break the law.
Yeah, I'm going to, like I say, pull the Band-Aid off all at once on this debt, and
they're criminals, right? They're charging 30% interest.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's
the hell is that?
I got to look up Discover, but I paid $60 last month. That can't be too much on $5,000 debt. $60. That's probably not raping me too bad. Well, I could figure that out mathematically, couldn't I? If I had any sense.
Your contract should say what your interest rate is.
Yeah, well, yeah.
But yeah, you gotta
gotta get that off. I can pay half of it right now. Why not do it? Just do that, and then think about big payments after that.
Yeah, you just don't get trapped paying the minimum, because you'll never pay it off.
Yeah, you'll never pay it off. That's what I have been doing, and in a way, that was wasted money, wasn't it? Just holding it in place,
That's that's kind of what you're doing. You'd be better off floating it among a couple credit cards.
Yeah.
I think. I'm not giving financial advice.
and Grok, you know what? If you ask Grok for financial advice, it says, "Do not use me for financial advice." No, but then it goes ahead. Then it goes ahead and
it tells you anyway.
It tells you anyway.
The problem with AI is AI will answer any question you ask it, but you can't trust it to be telling you the truth.
That's right. Yeah.
I see guys at work will ask AI questions.
I get it.
And it's like, well, how do you know that? My brother's done some stuff like that about some different business things. What would you do for this? And I'm like, dude, you got to be careful about that. We're not writing a King Kong movie here. We're talking about borrowing money, and set up a business plan. And not that it can't help you, but you just got to be careful, because it will very confidently give you wrong information.
Yeah. Speaking of King Kong movies, I always thought it was a smart idea to write another Skull Island experience movie. Oh, they have done it? Oh, well, of course, they've done it 10 different times. In terms of
you saw Kong and Godzilla and
all that. But I'm talking about really dip down and be in the universe of that original King Kong. What was that, 1933?
I think so. I actually saw it when I was a little kid, not back then. But it was still playing. It was still playing in the movies when I was like 4. I guess I was 4 or 5. Oh, and I have that image burned into my brain of when they show his face close up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He built a giant life-size
built a giant one for that. Yeah.
And I remember going like that and putting. I remember that. Yeah.
I saw Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs when I was a kid.
I always loved the dinosaur fights, right?
Oh yeah.
Beating up the T-Rex.
Yeah, I always felt Frazetta was always using that particular model maker's what's his name, Willis's T-Rex from King Kong every time he did a
that was the
T-Rex.
That was the current
visual
anatomy that they had.
They thought. Yeah. What were you going to say, Scott? We kind of steamrolled you there. What were you going to
I just said, Mario talked about seeing King Kong, but not in the original, but that was playing when he was a kid.
It's a reissue.
And I saw Snow White in the same way. It had come back kind of on a revival. And Grandma Ronnie.
You saw the new one? Is that what you're talking about?
No. When I was a kid, Grandma Ronnie took my brother and I to see, because she had seen it as a kid and she wanted to take us to go see it.
Oh, right.
And I remember seeing it. There's a big cutout of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs in the thing.
Yeah, I like
You got that movie out now, and apparently, it's like semi-mixed reviews. That one actress has done the unrecommendable of saying, "Hey, she's all for Palestine and all that," and being a product of Hollywood, so that's not getting her any points. And here she is being Snow White, and all she is controversial for her stands on stuff like that.
Well, she was controversial, but man, in the pictures I've seen, she looks like Snow White. So,
yeah. It's like,
I don't know what
if they had bleached her out a little bit.
I know I can't do it forever, but I'm really ignoring politics right now. They make me sick to my stomach.
Oh yeah,
they scare the hell out of me too.
They are pretty scary. Yeah, I don't run too deep on the internet without somebody saying, "Hey, we're about to have a civil war." It's like, okay.
I don't think that's going to happen, but
yeah, I don't either.
See what happens.
Well, it's just a minefield,
Yeah, it is a minefield of.
There's nothing to be gained because
it's a minefield of too much technology. Because ordinarily we couldn't interact like this. There is and Facebook, of course. Facebook.
We don't know what's happening. We're going to find out what's happening in 10 years when the historians and reporters figure out what's going on.
Enough autopsies.
They'll have opinions about it. They'll have opinions about what happened.
It's like Ray Bradbury said one time. I think it's Ray Bradbury. I saw maybe it was either Ray Bradbury or Harlan Ellison. I saw him one time on TV, and he said, "If you want to be happy, stop watching the news." He said it's filled with stories that you don't want to hear about things happening to people that you don't know.
And it's showbiz too.
Yeah.
It's showbiz. Yeah.
It is.
And I know people that are just obsessed with the news.
Yeah.
And by the way, since I've been reading this history, this is not new. This is not new. Just the scale of it and the media have changed.
Mm-hmm.
But the same, it's almost like the same stereotypes are doing the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, I watched the documentary about the Crimean War, and it's all that same area is still fighting.
The only thing that's new, though, is that we have nuclear weapons, and we end up having wars. So hopefully we can get beyond that.
Yeah. You talk about your AI and being immersive, Scott. Imagine if you could tell it, "Hey, let's. I want to be one of the Spartans in our of the 300." And have that fight, be there, and have it generated, from, base it on Gates of Fire, basically. I want to be the guy that was running things and whatever, and then,
spear.
I'm a spear.
I'll be the 299th guy to bite it.
Yeah, exactly. There's a pretty good movie that was made before the Frank Miller one.
300 Spartans, man.
300 Spartans, pretty good movie, especially the way it ends with all those guys dying under that hail of arrows.
Well,
it makes you go, because they're fighting till the very last inch, keeping those arrows off of them.
I like it better than Frank Miller's version.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, no, you get involved in it. What's that one guy's name? He was in that Elvis movie we watched. Why did we watch that one Elvis Western movie? What was that called?
The Western or the King Creole? We watched King Creole.
We watched King Creole, but didn't we also watch the one where Elvis returns during the Confederate War?
I don't think so.
Flaming Star or something like that.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
Yeah.
I don't think we watched that one, Elvis.
Oh, you don't? Oh, okay. I guess we didn't. Maybe I thought we did.
I've never seen it.
I must have checked it out on the library or something. Yeah, I watched it.
My wife plays a kind of 50s music, mostly. So I hear Elvis a lot. And the more I hear him, though, the more I appreciate it. He was a really great singer.
Oh, he was. Yeah, he was good.
Not in the beginning, we had the fire. He kind of petered out, but
yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true of every artist. They've got their peak.
I used to at work. I used to have on my phone. I had a bunch of Elvis songs, and on Fridays I'd get there about 30 minutes before everybody else, and I'd play Elvis on my. I had speakers. I'd play Elvis. You could hear it echo through the building before everybody got there. Call it Elvis Friday.
I can imitate him vocally and on the guitar.
Cool. That Elvis impression will get a guy far.
Who's the guy that got famous for doing that? And then he started wrestling women.
Yeah, Andy Kaufman.
Andy Kaufman.
Yeah, that guy was. I love that stuff during that era. Did you see him on Letterman when Jerry Lawler slapped him? I saw that live. I saw it the moment it happened. It was pretty cool.
It was fake, by the way.
It was fake. Yes, that's the deal. It is so funny, Lawler having to go through all these years and loving it, of being the heel that, was so mean to little Andy Kaufman. They had it all worked out, just like everybody in wrestling.
It was a work.
Yeah.
I saw a thing about it.
But he did it well. They did it well. Slapped him right out of that chair.
Yeah.
It was so funny.
Can't believe
Letterman wasn't in on the joke. Letterman did not know, and he was that. You're seeing improv with Letterman there. Yeah.
What about Will Smith? What do you think of Will Smith?
Oh well, that was so calamitous for him. It's like, wasn't that a weird thought on his mind? I guess once you've taken the first 5 steps, it's like, where am I going? I'm going up there to slap him. Okay.
I think he had that. I think he was so angry that he didn't care.
Must have been
if he'd had a gun, he'd
stressed out and strained and and
Yeah.
stoned probably.
Plus, it showed kind of like how these guys get an image of what they are entitled to. It's like, what are you thinking? You're not going to have but 20% of the world on your side. Yeah, What?
I didn't think it was good in any way. There was nothing good.
No, there's nothing good about it, and nobody was going to be on his side, and he just didn't digest that before he did it.
There were people on his side. There's always people on his side.
Yeah, that's right.
He shouldn't have made fun of his wife.
I think the statistic is
I don't
always
think
going
he
to
made fun of his wife.
No, he's Chris Rock. He's going to make fun of you. Yeah,
that was a softball, if anything.
Yeah.
Well, it was, but I don't know.
And he was comparing her to G.I. Jane, who was not a weak or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Not a patsy. Not a negative character. Yeah,
that's it. That's all they were talking about. Really, was her look was bald.
What's her problem?
Mm-hmm. But she had a condition for being bald, so he was outraged. Okay.
Did that hurt?
And they showed him laughing first, and then he gets when he looks at his wife, he goes, "Oh,
steam."
I think that's what it.
That may have been
right there, Mario. He laughed, and then he looked at her and saw she wasn't laughing. I
gotta work this out. Yep.
But has he's still in stuff, right?
Oh yeah. No, he was too big. He was too big to completely wipe out by much of anything. Yeah.
Right. And he's done a lot of good movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Taken in a few I liked. Yeah. I haven't what they finally named the. Oh, what is the thing about the original zombie movie? What's the
Legend?
I Am Legend. Yeah, I Am Legend.
Which was who wrote that?
Matheson.
Matheson. That's right.
Yep, the guy.
I read that. I read the story. And Vincent Price did. That's the Vincent Price movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, Vincent Price was
The Last Man on Earth, Italian production.
And then Omega Man.
Weren't they supposed to be in the book? They're vampires, I think.
Yeah, kind of. I don't know if it's ever spelled out as such, but yeah.
They don't seem to really prey on people other than to kill them, though. I don't think they actually feast on them, or it's ever depicted in any way. I think they just resent the still living. And they just come there. At least that's what the Omega Man was, right? Yeah, they just resent the idea of anybody untouched by the plague.
Well, they're not one of them.
Charlton Heston.
Well, Well, I always interpreted it as, through the different variations of it.
Douglas.
Hang on. Thank you. I always interpreted it as they kind of were afraid of him or something.
Well, yeah,
They wanted to eliminate him, but there was a little bit of fear too, or awe.
Well, he hated them enough to be out on a daily basis. That was what he considered his job, was to be staking them out. And that was the thing with Vincent Price's role too. He thought that his purpose was to get around far and wide and stake them out. So they were scared of him. Yeah.
My favorite one was Return of the Living Dead.
Oh, yeah. That is probably one of the best takes on the whole zombie thing, because it's funny.
It's funny.
Yeah.
And it should be funny. It was
Dan O'Bannon. Yep.
Oh, and the Harry Harrelson movies, Zombieland. Those two are good.
I've seen the one, and that was funny.
The other one's good. I think it's better.
The sequel, huh? I haven't seen that.
They're both good. Yeah, I think the sequels, they put a little bit more money into it.
Mm-hmm. Is it still got Bill Murray in it?
No, Bill Murray gets killed by accident.
Oh, that's right.
He's a zombie.
That's right. Yeah, he's a zombie.
That was funny. I think it's time to wrap it up. I have to get.
Yeah, it's 56 minutes.
I need to go. I got a phone call. But...
Okay. Well, guys, it was good. I'll get over my aversion to homework, and I'll do my RPG stuff.
What do we need to do? What do we need to do, Mario, before we meet next?
Well, it'd be nice to have the character sheets ready, and then we're going to start talking about their relationship and how they get into the story.
Well, we have to have a decent story to tell first, huh? Right.
Well, and we could do it together. That's fine. And there's no rush or anything. And you got that article now, so that's going to be one of the focuses.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
So we'll read this. I have my sheet all filled out. I'll get it. And you want me to send it to you, Mario?
Yes, your new one.
Okay.
Right.
It's this sheet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good. Okay.
Okay. I'm in the stream, guys.
Good night. Thank you, Ellis.
Okay.
Good night, Scott.
Okay.
Good night.